Okay, good evening. I think it's on. Okay, so welcome everyone. Namaste, as we say. The light in me greets the light in you. That's what Namaste means in Sanskrit. So tonight we're together to speak about Satya. Satya, which is a Sanskrit word that means truthfulness. Beautiful topic. I would like to start, and we will come back to the meaning of Satya later, by just a short moment of interiorization. My invitation is for you to, I hope that people who are looking are maybe into yoga, some are maybe not at all. So we're gonna have a little experience together. And this experience will be the experience of a guided meditation. So I invite you to find a comfortable seated position on a chair. You can be with your back straight. And I invite you to close your eyes. Try to simply relax the body. You can bring your attention in the muscles of the face, allowing the cheeks, the mouth, the eyes to relax, dropping the shoulders, relaxing the belly. And simply trying to enjoy this sitting position. And we move from the physical body, we try to relax any contractions at the level of emotions. Fully accepting what is in this very present moment. Maybe feeling tired or a bit agitated. Just trying to relax all that comes. Relaxing any mental fixations. Maybe have thoughts that come in loops. Trying to put more distance between those thoughts and ourselves. We try to be this witness, that which sees all phenomena. Any physical sensations, emotions, or thoughts are simply embraced, witnessed. As Ramana Maharshi says, let what come, come. Let what go, go. And see what remains. Learning to simply rest, to be, simply be, here and now. And very slowly, on our own time, we can open the eyes. So welcome again. So as I told you just before, tonight we will speak about Satya, a beautiful topic that is presented to us. So about Satya, something beautiful is that it could be seen as the end of the path, but it is brought to us quite at the beginning of, we will see right now, of what we call the 8 limbs of yoga. So yoga is huge, yoga is very wide, but it can be described by true yogis like Patanjali many years ago as a progressive path, a path to reveal our true nature. Yoga can be seen as how to unite the individual spirit to the universal spirit. It's this journey towards merging, towards union. And in this journey, we can find different steps. And one of the first steps are what we call a yama and yama. There are moral conducts. And Satya is one of them, truthfulness. So exactly as if you open the Bible and you see those 10 commandments saying you will not lie, well, Satya is the equivalent of this, is truthfulness. We'll talk more deeply about it. Yes. So those yamas, there are 5 of them, and then we have 5 niyamas, and then we go into what we mostly know in Europe or the Western world, which is the practice of asanas, which is the physical part, those postures. And then we move on into breath control, pranayama, and then into more internalization, pratyahara. Then we will find concentration, dharana, then dhyana, what we call meditation. And then at the end, um, higher stage would be samadhi, which would be the experience of this merging. So we can see that there can be a progression. And truth could be seen as the end, like what you want to find is this truth, but it's brought at the beginning. And we can see that the more we cultivate this truthfulness, this way of being very pure, I would say, without lying, being fully honest, being authentic, full of integrity, this make it easier to attain this ultimate absolute truth. And if we have a glimpse of this ultimate truth that we could say, it helps us to be more truthful in the way of the yama, of not telling lies, of being very authentic being. I just said the word being, and this is the true meaning of Satya. Satya means sat, means to be, and it's the root of this word Satya. So Satya in Sanskrit would be to dwell in your own being, to be the closest from what it is to simply be in the truth. It can be seen as self-honesty also. It can be seen as pure intention. So there's many meanings. But the essence of it is this beingness and this purity of intention, this honesty. So truth can be a huge word. It can divide people. Sometimes the concept of truth, of someone saying, I have the truth, can bring so much dogma around it, so much. Truth should never divide. It should always unite. And let's speak a little more about this truth. We can see two types of truth. Usually we talk about the absolute truth or the relative truth. So let's start with the absolute truth. The absolute truth, if we look from the perspective of the Hindu philosophy, from the perspective of the yogis, of the non-dual teachings, Nisargadatta Maharaj, a great yogi and guru, would say the truth is you. As simple as that. And there's much beauty in this, because this is the purity of the non-dual teachings. Some would say the absolute truth is God, or some big words like this. But God can be, sadly, in our minds sometimes synonym of something very external, like a bearded man in the clouds or something like this. Whereas here, Nisargadatta Maharaj says, the truth is you, meaning that there's nothing to seek externally, but the quest happens inside, happens in this direction. And I will quote Nisargadatta because he has so much to say. Beautiful quote by Nisargadatta is the following. He says, love of one and love of all merge together in love, pure and simple. Addressed to none, denying to none. Stay in that love. Go deeper and deeper into it. Investigate yourself and love the investigation. And you will and you will solve not only your own problems, but also the problems of humanity. Please see that I want nothing from you. It is in your own interest that I speak, because above all, you love yourself. You want yourself secure and happy. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't deny it. It is natural and good to love oneself. Only you should know what exactly do you love. Is it not the body that you love? It's life that you love. Perceiving, feeling, thinking, doing, loving, striving, creating. It is that life you love, which is you and which is all. Realize it in its totality, beyond all divisions and limitations. And all your desires will merge in it, for the greater contains the smaller. Therefore, find yourself, for in finding that, you find all. Everybody is glad to be, but few know the fullness of it. You come to know by dwelling your mind in I am, I know, I love, with the will of reaching the deepest meaning of these words. So beautiful quotes, and I would like to come back on a few points. One point is this one. In finding yourself, you find all. This is something very profound, but very true, because this love that he speaks of, this love of one and love of all, merges together in love. If we allow ourselves to go in, to really be honest with ourselves in this quest for truth, in what am I really, who am I really, and we dive in this direction, deeply and intensely, what we found, we realize, is the same essence. What I find here is present in everywhere. This absolute truth is the very ground of existence. All that I would say will not be the truth because it is beyond concepts. But we like to inspire each other and to share. This is what we do. But this truth is this very beingness, this very yamness. He says, few know the fullness of it, of this feeling of when you find yourself, you find all. You come to know it by dwelling the mind in I am. What is it, this dwelling the mind in I am? Well, this I am is this very pure feeling of beingness. One other quote that can inspire you from Swami Shivananda. He says, meditation is the dissolution of thoughts in eternal awareness or pure consciousness without objectification, knowing without thinking, merging finitude in infinity. So here again, something quite relevant is meditation is the dissolution of thoughts in eternal awareness. Again, Nisargadatta was saying, dwelling the mind in the I am, and here Swami Shivananda says, the dissolution of thoughts in eternal awareness. So we can see that there is one thing in common, is this quietness of the mind. Another great yogi, great jnani, Ramana Maharshi, which we meditate, we use a lot his technique of self-enquiry in Hridaya. And he says the highest form of grace is silence. And this is one of the main tasks to reach what we would call this absolute truth, is to bring the mind to a state of silence. So at first it's very complicated. It is quite a task. It requires a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance. But if one is really honestly going in this direction, honestly honoring this quest of those big questions that human being can ask themselves, like, who am I? Who am I truly? Am I really always those coming thoughts? Am I always those coming emotions? Really being honest with ourselves and looking deeply inside of, am I just these transient things? Because if we think about it, truly, we cannot really be our thoughts. They come and they go. From where do they come? From where do they go back to? I cannot really be my emotions. One day I'm super happy, maybe ecstatic. Another day I can feel really sad. Am I really those emotions? Even opinions, like I'm, I don't know, whatever opinion that can come to you. I um, think that ecology can save the world, and I become a true activist on the in ecology or or something like this. This is a very good thing, and maybe 20 years later, you can think in another way, or you can think this man is the best president your country should have, and maybe 5 months later, you think the opposite. Or you can think a person is quite unpleasant, and then you get to know her, and she smiles at you, or he smiles at you, and you think that suddenly they become very pleasant. So we're not really our opinions or what we think. We're something deeper, something beyond the rational mind. And this is where this absolute truth lies. This absolute truth lies beyond the rational mind. So I can be here speaking and trying to put words on what this absolute truth is, but the truth is that it's not a concept, it is an experience. And what can we do to experience this absolute truth? Well, we can practice yoga. We can practice yoga. When I mean yoga, I don't only mean this practice of asanas. They're really good to do different postures, can help to move energy, to purify things at some psycho-emotional levels and other levels of our being. So asana practice is very good. We can follow the yamas and niyamas of non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, very good also. But most of all, we can meditate. And the practice of meditation, of self-enquiry, with the question, who am I, is a great help. Because we do not expect a rational answer from this, who am I? When I sit with myself and I close my eyes, and each time something comes up like a thought, and I'm caught into a story, a train of thoughts, and I really ask myself, who am I? Am I really this train of thoughts? And I try to drop the story and come back into this I amness, this feeling of I am, this pure sense of being. And I try again and again to come back to this sense of being, learning to put distance, space between what is perceived and the perceiver, learning to become the witness of the phenomena. And something beautiful happens is that in this process of coming back again and again in a sense of pure I-ness, of pure beingness, there can be a purification. They call it Nirodha Parinama, the purification of the subconscious mind. Something happens that it helps you in life from the quest of absolute truth. It helps you in daily life to be more truthful, to be more honest, to be more authentic. Why? Because we learn to be non-reactive. We learn to be non-reactive to our thoughts, to our emotions, and to whatever comes up. This doesn't mean that we become a dead piece of wood, something very insensitive. We still have emotions, we still have thoughts, they will always be there. The mind will always be there. But we learn to put distance, to put some space between the phenomena and what perceives every phenomena. So, this absolute truth is my greatest wish is for every human being to perceive what is absolute truth. As I said, it's ineffable, it's unknown, it's beyond words, it's an experience, it's beyond concept. But it's true. In yoga, they say it's the truth that reveals the truth. Ritambara. And it is a quest. It is something beautiful to seek for. Because once we have a glimpse, a touch, a taste of this absolute truth, there is a memory of it. And those states, it's a bit like love. It's when you're inside a complete state of love, you don't really know it. You cannot describe it because you're completely immersed inside. It's only once you're out of it that you can put words on it and say, wow, this was the most ecstatic, opening experience of my life. But once you're in it, the words are not there. Just the experience is. Something that is beautiful also is that we naturally, beyond meditation, naturally we can have glimpses of this absolute truth. Every, I think, artist that really, a dancer that is fully in the dance, is one with the dance, experiences this. He cannot describe, he's not in the process of being rational, being analytic about what's going on in this right here, right now. He is in the dance. An artist that is fully painting and he is in his painting or in his creative mood is the same. There's a kind of flow, they would say. It's the same for sportsmen, people who love sports and you really do the sports that you love. You're fully in the present moment. You are in this. You love so much what you're doing that you're in the moment. Nothing else. The mind doesn't function. You're somehow, the mind is fixed on something, which is this beingness. So this is one beautiful aspect about Satya, about this truth, that it can be lived through meditation, but it can be lived also naturally, I would say, in daily life through a lot of things that we're doing. You can be fully in Satya, in beingness, while you're washing the dishes. There's no concerns about projections, what I'm going to do in the future, memories from the past coming, and you're just here washing your bowl, just enjoying the hot water, the sensations, maybe being aware of the sounds around you. But there's this just union with this very present moment. You're one with doing the dishes. And this is truth. Being here and now, always. And this is the greatest gift that we have. The greatest gift that we have is to be present in what we are doing. The greatest gift that we can, if one of the truths that I've learned through life and yoga and meditation is that the greatest gift that we have is this gift of being present for who is in front of us right now, being present with this present moment. And you can see it's the same word. A present, a gift, is to be present. This is something that is so obvious, but often the most beautiful and simple things are the most obvious. And this state of being is nothing complicated. It is so simple, really. It is so simple if we really allow ourselves to drop what was and what will be and try to be here and now with what is. That doesn't mean that nothing is alive in us. There can be thoughts and there can be emotions. And the last thing we want is to become a kind of live in a fakeness of being and not honoring what is alive in us. We remain humans, full of emotions are there, and the last thing we want is to deny them. Satya is this self-honesty, is this honesty to be with what is. So to be with our thoughts and to be with our feelings, with our emotions. There are few ways not to honor Satya. Of course, by lying, this is quite obvious, lying or changing the truth or telling a half truth. This would be a way of not honoring Satya. Also, cheating, pretending, one will be pretending. And this is a big one. This is a big one for me because it is so easy to do what we call people pleasing. And this concept of people pleasing, while I was contemplating Satya and doing a bit of research, I simply went on the web, went on YouTube, and I typed speech on truthfulness. Tuk tuk, and a few things came up. And one thing that came up was a TED talk from a sociologist called Christine Carter. And she's a sociologist that studied what is happiness or how do we become a happy person. This is the main topic of this person. And she's been studying this over a decade. And at the beginning, she shares that um, she was a very, very sensitive child with a lot of emotions. She was crying a lot, mainly. And one day, the mom of her friend said, you cannot come anymore to play with my child because it's very hard for me to cope with your crying all the time. So I'm very sorry, but you cannot come anymore to play at my place. And this was a great shift, she says, Christine Carter, in her life, because from that moment, she really started to pay attention to what people thought of her. Instead of being fully authentic and being true to her emotions and states of being, she simply started to have a process of, I need to please people, to be the way they want me to be. And she said that this was the beginning of a very long career of personal pleasing that led her into jobs that she really didn't want to do by working many, many hours to fulfill the expectations of people, but never really honoring her truth and the truth of her feelings and of her way of being. Because we may all have this essence, this beingness that is common to all, we still have a personality. Personality is quite funny. It's a word that means personality through the voice, so through the mask. So behind this Louis, of course, I still have conditioning, I still have preferences and whatnot. But I learn and try to cultivate this beautiful inner garden of being, this ground of being that is common to everybody. And what I mean by this is that through her process, Christine Carter would not honor her preferences. She would put herself in situations that would create a complete, she says, a loss of alignment, loss of balance, because she was living to please others. Lao Tzu has a beautiful phrase about this. He says, care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. So care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. And by this people pleasing, it is only this. It's not that it's not good to think about people. Thinking about people is a good thing. Caring about people is a good thing. But we should care about people without caring about what they think about us. And this exactly this. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. So true. So true that if we live to please others, then we lose our essence. We do not honor what is true for us. And Christine Carter, she says at the beginning, she's been a sociologist on what is happiness and how to be a happy person. She says at the beginning of her career, she thought that really implementing a sense of gratitude on a daily basis, having gratitude for life, for food, for air, for many things, was a way to find this happiness. Then, years later, she said, cultivating a sense of generosity, of loving kindness, is also very important in this path of happiness. But all points in her latest research, everything talks about this integrity, about this honesty, about this authenticity. That the moment that she really worked on herself to be really truthful to her feelings and her deepest values, and then happiness was something more present, more alive. And it is beautiful to remember that we cannot deny any aspect of our being. And on this quest, on this path of yoga, and I guess that many that will watch the video um, have a consistent practice of yoga, and sometimes in the name of equanimity and detachment, we sometimes completely bypass and suppress some things that want to be seen. And if we really want to be honest and to be truthful, we need to learn to be honest with ourselves and see what wants to be seen, see what wants to be acknowledged. We always say and we always hear in ashrams or yoga halls that to let go of something, first you need to acknowledge it. So this self-honesty is so, so essential, so important. And we often confuse about, sometimes we emphasize a lot on this path of finding yourself, how loving kindness is important. And it is, don't get me wrong, but we cannot fake it. We cannot fake being compassionate. We cannot fake being loving. is better to be true when with someone some anger comes up, to be able, without going in, being caught into it, but to be able to express it, just allow what comes to be expressed, and then to go. Of course, always very important to, through our speech, and this is a big point that I want to bring forth now, that on our communication and our speech should be carried by non-violence, of course. Like, very important to have a non-violent communication. The game is to express what we feel without hurting or creating pain. That would be by maybe finding the right moment to express what needs to be expressed, not falling into reactivity. If we see that there's an impulse, maybe try to calm down, find your center, and then from there to communicate again. And this brings me, and I kind of brought it on its own, the importance of Satya in relationship, like with other people. It could be a love relationship or friendship or family, but how important it is to be truthful in those relationships. This is the base of it, the essence. And there's a beautiful little quote by John Lennon. He says that um, if you're really honest, you might not have many friends, but you will have the right ones. And it is so true. It is so, so true that truth is maybe not the most pleasant thing to hear sometimes, but this is where we grow. If we do not share our truth with the people we love and that we're close to, how will we grow? We are meant to be mirrors to each other. And of course, some would say, but who are you to tell me or whatever? But if we really feel that we need to communicate something with someone, to be honest with them, not saying it, just keeping it for ourselves, would be breaking Satya, would be not being truthful. So honesty requires honesty, and it's not easy. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of guts of being brave, but it is such a gift because sometimes so much tensions and can be dissolved by expressing a truth. And we don't want to start to play a game of becoming a truth teller or whatever, but if we're really truthful to ourselves, we will know when and to express it. And sometimes the best thing we can offer is just presence and silence, better than words. Just being here and listening to our loved ones in our relationships. If someone comes to us and shares a problem, sometimes silence itself resolves the problem just by holding space and being present. This is the greatest gift, once again, that we can give each other, this gift of presence. So it's a huge topic. It's a very wide topic. The truth is, I was a little bit messy. Well, this is what I perceive. I hope you will find yourself in this talk. I'm very grateful to always have the opportunity to share and um, the opportunity to contemplate such topics. Would like to end by just this little phrase that there. I'm currently in Longeval in Hridaya, France, where I have the chance to be right now. And there is a little meditation temple. It's a kind of room where you can go and meditate whenever you want. And on this door, there's written meditation temple, opening hours. And it says opening hours. It doesn't say from 10 to 10 or whatever. It says whenever your soul is longing for truth and love. And I found it very beautiful that I invite every human being to implement meditation in its life, because it's such a way, it's so true that whenever you long really for love or truth, you know that you can just sit and be with yourself, learn to cultivate this intimacy with your own being, because this is the truth. This is what will always remain. Our thoughts, emotion always come and go. But this feeling of I am, this beingness, will always be here. This is the greatest gift that was given to me by the practice of yoga and meditation. Thanks to Hridaya Yoga, the school I met, many other schools have the same message, because any true message of truth should never be a message that divides, but a message that unites. And the truth is that truth is love, and love is truth. And with those words, I wish you beautiful ends of your day or night. And I hope you will tune in with Kalyan Yoga. I see that they start sharing some Hridaya Hatha Yoga and Hridaya meditation. If you're very curious and enthusiastic and want to learn more, stay tuned. And yes, I think the next topic will be love and enjoy. Voilà. Namaste.